It's another day. Left jab, right jab. This is MMA. Mixed martial arts, quick body parts. Undefeated when I think I'm who the champ, who the victim. Looking in my crystal ball, I predict the winner. Never stop fighting. If you lose, keep your chin up. Know how the game go. I'm a smart fella. Welcome to the show. This the MMA fortune teller.
The MMA fortune teller.
The teller.
What's up, everybody? We're rolling live. Got an excellent show lined up for you guys. We got Matt Schnell, Danger, joining the show here very soon. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere. Going to be talking all things MMA. You know, we got another event coming right at you guys this weekend. A pretty exciting card we got going on. Interested to talk with you guys, what lines you guys like. And as far as a betting perspective goes, if there's any lines you guys are targeting, I know there's a couple spots I feel good with. And, of course, in the main event, I think it's going to be fireworks. Anytime Alistair Overeem is fighting in a main event spot, it's fireworks. You remember the last fight that he was just in against Walt Harris. That was a crazy fight. He got dropped early. He was hurt. And, he was able to survive the early onslaught from Walt and then just showed, how much of a pro he is. So I'm interested to see him right back in there against a knockout artist in Augusto Sakai, who, do not get it twisted. That guy can put anybody's lights out. What's up, Tehran? Appreciate you stopping in. What's up, Tehran? How you doing, bro? What's up, Josh Stern? Shout out to the casual Josh Stern. He's trying to learn a little bit about MMA, so I had him pop in. That's why he wrote casual. He wanted to let you guys know, take it easy on him. He doesn't know, all the ins and outs of MMA, so he's trying to learn stuff. And shout out to Josh Stern for not having a big ego and admitting that he's a casual and coming in here and, he's trying to learn a little bit about the sport. So we're happy to help you out, and we'll tell you how the sport works. Now, our guest, Matt Schnell, he'll be joining us very shortly here. Matt Schnell, man, has a big fight coming up against Tyson Nam. For those of you guys that remember, man, Tyson Nam just had a giant knockout victory over Adeshev. And Adeshev, Zurak Adeshev was one of the best, or in my opinion, one of the better guys to transition over to MMA that was a kickboxer, one of the better strikers. And Tyson Nam went out there and knocked him out early. So that was a very impressive victory for him. And, now we're going to see, how Schnell matches up against Nam. And I feel that Schnell is going to handle business out there. Schnell is an extremely well-rounded fighter. He could stand. He could strike with you. His grappling is very, very underrated. Or maybe not even underrated. Maybe you guys do realize, but the point is that his grappling is very good. He goes out there and he subs guys left and right. So I'm excited to talk to him, man. Tony Ferguson rumored to fight Dustin P at UFC 254. Yeah, man, I'm very much looking forward to that fight. Early lean is definitely on Dustin Poirier. I'll tell you guys right now. I think that Dustin is a very similar fighter to Justin Gaethje in a lot of ways, maybe even a more refined striker. I mean, we've seen those guys go to war, and we saw who prevailed in that. Of course, MMA math doesn't always add up, but still, I think that Poirier is going to give Ferguson some trouble on the feet. Ferguson has shown that he's there to be tagged in the feet, but at the same time, Ferguson is a relentless, unorthodox, spectacular fighter. And some people like to say that Ferguson's last loss against Gaethje, he wasn't training for him, and it was a change of opponent towards right when that fight started to happen. And maybe if Tony was training specifically for him, it would have been different. He was training for a grappler in Khabib, whereas Gaethje is a guy that's really, even though he has the wrestling experience, Gaethje's a guy that's really a striker at this point. And, I see the point that people are making, but I still think that fight goes the same regardless. That's how I look at it. So, yeah, Tehran, you okay? You're on Tony. Nah, Tehran, here's the thing, man. It's not just the fact that he lost to Gaethje, man. The thing is, I've seen him get tagged on the feet, often. I saw Anthony Pettis drop him twice. There's been a couple other fights that I've seen him. I'll pull it up, man. I've seen him get hurt in the feet. I feel that his striking is although it's very effective as far as him inflicting pain on his opponents, man, he's aggressive. He's in your face. He's throwing those teep kicks to your stomach, and he's constantly attacking you. I do feel that he keeps his hands too low. And, there's only so many wars you can go through, man. That last fight, his chin is made of steel. I'll give him credit. But the damage that he took in that fight, I talked about this in the past. I don't remember the last fight that I saw end like that. It was like Tony Ferguson. And this is the way I described it last time. It's like his computer froze. I mean, he literally, it's like he was so tough that he wouldn't go down, but it's like his body just couldn't handle it, bro. It's like I think he may have had some fractures in his face and whatnot. I mean, it was nasty, and just the damage that his brain took in that fight, that will catch up with you after a while. And Ferguson is no young chicken, so Poirier is going to be teeing off on you. You guys know how Poirier fights, man. Poirier is coming from the first round to the last second of the fifth round, and he's coming to tee off on your dome, man. Let's not forget with what Poirier's been doing. Poirier's a stud. But then again, man, listen, I'm not trying to disrespect Ferguson. Anytime Ferguson's in there, anything can happen. So anything can go, man. That's for damn sure. Other than that, what else we got going on, man? Well, we'll talk more about this weekend, man. Ovin St. Preux taking on Alonzo Menafield in the co-main event. I'm excited for that fight. A lot of people have been asking me my thoughts on OSP since he had COVID and whatnot. But you know what, man? They instantly rescheduled this fight. OSP was ready to throw down, on the last event that he was initially scheduled to fight on. I think that the only reason why he couldn't fight was just because he tested positive. I mean, I think that he felt fine. I think that he's physically okay. I think he's ready to go. So I wouldn't look too much into that. My boy Paulie would chip Artem in a second fight. Okay. The boy Stern. Okay, I see he's a casual trying to learn about MMA. I see he's a boxing fan. Listen, the fact is the GOAT Artem butchered Paulie. People try to say that was a bad decision, and I completely disagree with that. I thought Artem was bringing that fight the entire time. Paulie barely let his hands go at all. I understand. For everyone that's listening, I'm talking about Artem Lobov and Paulie Malignaggi, the bare knuckle event that actually happened on a special day for me, man. It was an exciting fight, but in that fight, I understand if you're a boxing fan, I understand what you're trying to say, man. Like boxing is a sweet science, it's using your counter punching, your footwork. But Paulie wasn't doing nothing. Paulie was backpedaling that entire fight. He wasn't letting his hands go at all. So don't give me that BS that Paulie was out there styling on him using his footwork. Artem Lobov was bringing the fight to him. He was cutting him off, throwing bombs on him. He cut him up, and Artem Lobov whooped up Paulie. So I don't really want to hear it. If Paulie ever wanted to run it back, I'd love to see the fight happen, but I don't think that he even would. Look how Dustin fought Dan Hooker. He was getting his ass kicked. Oh, Tehran, you're killing me over there, bro. Poirier dominated that fight. I had Poirier winning that fight easily 3 rounds, I think even 4 rounds. And that was actually a play of mine too. Made some good money on that, and I thought Poirier handled business there. So definitely disagree with you there, bro. But still, much love to you, bro. Let's see what else we got here. Matt Schnell, great fighter and very well-spoken guy. Yes, he is. And speaking of him, he's coming on right now, boys. Here we go. What's up, Matt?
What's up, boss? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Doing well. I was getting whipped a little earlier by trying to get into this, but I figured it out. So here we are.
Ah, good stuff. Good stuff. If you could, maybe, I don't know if this works for you. Can you put your phone sideways? Maybe. Yeah, there you go. Perfect, man. You're the man. So how's everything going, bro? I know you got a big fight coming up, in about 2 weeks, right? I would say, 2 weeks from Saturday.
Saturday it'll be 1 week. We're 1 week out.
Oh,
So
1 week. Yeah.
coming up on the 12th. We just lost our main event today. So other than that, yeah, all is well.
That's right.
But looking
Yeah, I
forward
heard
to
about that. Yeah.
one
So
less
yeah,
fight to compete with.
yes, that's a good way to look at it, huh? Bring that money home, man. And anytime you're fighting, there's a big chance that you're going to bring home that check, right?
I like to think so.
Yeah. And your opponent brings it too, right? Tyson Nam, man, coming off a spectacular victory. I was talking about it earlier. What were your thoughts on your opponent, Tyson Nam, in his last fight? Goes out there and knocks out a guy in Adeshev who's a spectacular kickboxer.
Yeah, I've always thought that Tyson Nam was a great fighter. I've been watching him for a long time since way before he got into the UFC. He knocked out Dudu Dantas. I need to look up when it actually was, but it was like 2012. Dudu Dantas was the Bellator champion, and he fought Tyson Nam outside of the organization and got slept. So he's been on my radar for a long time, and I think he's a great fighter. Now, with that being said, he did fight a butterball in his last fight, and I know the guy can kickbox, and but he showed up looking like a dang marshmallow.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. He was definitely looking out of shape in there. I definitely agree with you on that. And I'm not trying to say that Tyson Nam's the next big thing, but I was impressed the way that he went out there and got that knockout. Because I'll be honest with you, as far as Tyson Nam's striking goes, he definitely has power, but I do see some holes in his striking. I see some holes that are there for you to take advantage of. But in my opinion, I think it would be very impressive if you went out there and submitted him, because I believe that he's never been submitted. So I think that would be really special.
That's right. He's never been submitted. So that would be that's the feather in the cap that I would like to get for sure. It would be a good one. But we'll see how it goes. I could see me kickboxing this guy for 15 minutes as well. And I like the matchup. He's a great fighter, though. We're going to get out there and sort it out. And as long as I keep my head on straight, 15 focus minutes for me, and I can get it done against all these guys.
Yeah, definitely. And, so just to give you a little bit of background, man, of my show and what I like to do, man, I like to get to know the fighters on a little bit more of a personal note. You know what I mean? And, I've done some research into you. I know you were from Louisiana. I know you kind of came from a tough upbringing. And, it's funny, man, as I was looking into you today, I completely forgot about this, that you were on that show, man, Caged and MTV. And I remembered I used to watch you on that show. But it's kind of slipped my memory because, you've been putting in so much work here in the UFC, man. I just kind of visualize you as one of the best flyweight fighters in the world. But if you could, man, tell us what it was like growing up in Louisiana, man. What was it like for you as a kid?
I had a great childhood. My parents divorced when I was young, but my father was always in my life. And my mother, she always worked a job and kept a roof over our head and kept us clothed and fed. When I talk about being a trailer park guy, I am. We did start in the trailer park. My mama worked her way up, and she sold cars. Has sold cars now for 25 years. So she's made a good amount of money over her career. But when we were young, yeah, we were ruffians in the trailer parks, and came up. Went to high school in Shreveport, but was actually kind of more from central Louisiana, a little town called Rose Pine is where I went to elementary school. And yeah, childhood was good though. I mean, upbringing was good. I played a lot of sports in high school. My brother was a big part of my life, and he was somebody I looked up to. So got to spend a lot of time with my dad too. And my dad was actually living in South Florida. So my dad lived in Coral Springs, Florida, which is like 5 minutes away from Coconut Creek.
I grew up there.
Wow. So
yeah.
I went to middle school, and I can't remember the name of the middle school, but right there in Coral Springs.
You gotta remember the name. You might have went to school with me. That's crazy. And you're the same age as me.
What's the?
Was it Forest Glen, Coral Springs Middle?
Forest Glen.
That's where I went. That's where I went to school.
Forest Glen Middle School. Okay. Do you know Will Love?
Will Love. Nah, I don't know
William Love. Okay, well, we went to Forest Glen together, and he was like my best friend. He was my next door neighbor.
Wow.
But anyways, it's just crazy how it works out, because I lived there from like 7 years old until I was 13. My dad sold his house and moved away, but I I lived a good amount of my childhood there too, and ended up going
Oh,
back
wow.
when yeah.
Dude, that's crazy, man. What a small world. You know, what are the odds of that, bro? That's completely from left field, man. Crazy, man. That's my middle school right there.
That's insane.
Okay. So let me ask you this. I know you played football before you started training MMA, which I believe was at the age of 18. Was fighting something that you were already familiar with, or was the first time you really got into fighting was just in the gym, or was fighting something that you were already familiar with growing up?
When I was young, it seemed like I fought a lot. Coming up in the neighborhood, my brother used to like take us around too. Like there was like a big brother, little brother fight league in our little trailer trash household area. So, but I remember being young and fighting quite a bit. As I grew up, though, I wasn't very big, but I was pretty smart. So I stopped fighting. You know, I didn't fight much, but I was always scrappy. You know, I played football and I liked the contact and got roughed up a couple times in high school. But yeah, I kind of stopped fighting and then found fighting and yeah, this has been what it's been ever since.
So when you first walked into an MMA gym on the Louisiana scene, were you brushing shoulders with guys like Dustin Poirier and what was it, Tim Crowder? I remember he was a big time guy in the UFC back in the day. I used to watch from Louisiana.
Yeah,
Were you
so
around those
Tim,
guys?
yeah, yep. I moved to Lafayette, Louisiana, uh, at the beginning part of my professional career. That's where I was with Dustin and Tim. We were training at Gladiators Academy in Lafayette. With guys like Aaron Phillips, who's now back in the UFC. We had a good little crew back then. But I'm actually from North Louisiana. But I was fortunate enough to start training in a gym that it was owned by a Shreveport police officer named Brent Mason, and he had a kickboxing background and a boxing background, and he was a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, a real blue belt. And we had a couple of real blue belts that were, pretty good that are trained with Machado. So I mean, it was a small group, but now all these guys are black belts now. So I kind of, even though I started in a little obscure place, I was fortunate to walk into a room where there was serious guys, and we were much like most people back then, quite archaic in our ways of preparation, and it was sparring 4 or 5 days a week. We'd walk in and little gloves and go at each other. And when it was
Nice.
fight time, we knew how to fight because we had been in plenty of them.
Yep. That's the way to do it, right? Like the old school shuto box, right? Those guys used to go
Yeah.
nuts. There's stories about those guys too. That's
Mm-hmm.
one way to do it, man. Yeah, man. So now I want to get your thoughts upon like just not too long ago, Dana White was talking about closing down the division. And, in my opinion, guys like you are the reason why I thought that idea was ludicrous, because I still feel that the flyweight division, I think it's one of the more stacked divisions nowadays. It's coming around. I mean, you look at, if they would have kept Demetrius Johnson, there would have been so many big fights to make at the top. But now you got guys like Figueiredo, Cejudo's kind of on the outskirts. We don't know what's going on with that, but there's some really big names in this division. I'm curious, when that was all going down, you were obviously still winning fight after fight, man. You went on a nice win streak there. What, it was about 4 fights in a row. What was going through your mind at that time? If they did shut down the flyweight division, where do you think that you would have went? Would you have tried to move up to bantamweight, or would you have left the UFC?
I think that the idea was that I was going to fight at bantamweight, and I didn't,
Okay.
I didn't like that idea very much. But that's kind of what I was being told, is that they were going to take me at bantamweight. They liked my frame. They thought over time maybe I would grow into the weight class, and I agreed. 10 years of trying to be a flyweight, I am a flyweight now. But I think, give me 2-3 years of being a bantamweight, and I would grow into it. It would surprise people. But yeah, ultimately the flyweight division lives, and I'm happy with that. At the time, I didn't have much pull, but thereafter I stacked up a couple of wins. I started speaking out, and I wanted people to know that I was, I want to fight a flyweight. I think I'm one of the best flyweights in the world. I think I can beat all these guys. So this is what I want to do. And fortunately, not just myself, but other guys have been really exciting and done a great job, and have brought this weight class from obscurity. And I think it's something to be said, and it's not something that's talked about often. And that's really just because people don't understand how much they hate little men. but I do. So it's funny to watch people still say the same things. But to me, if you're still talking about this division in a negative light, it's simply because you're not paying attention, or you hate little people. It can't be anything in between.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. When I think of the flyweight division, I think of guys like Joseph Benavidez, who, in my opinion, is one of the most exciting fighters that we've ever seen bless the cage, man. UFC, WEC, any of that. Those are the types of guys that come to mind to me. I mean, Demetrius Johnson was spectacular for years. I think the fact that Demetrius was so dominant for as long as he was, that kind of put a little, maybe a little wrinkle in it. You know what I mean? It kind of made people think that the division wasn't so competitive. But that's just because Demetrius Johnson was a spectacular fighter,
Look at what dominant champions do to divisions. I mean, you can think back. Anderson Silva cleaned out the division. Yep. There were no interesting fights, and then for years afterwards, there was a hangover. Remember let's rewind the clock 3 years ago. Nobody gave a frick about the middleweight division.
It's true.
And that was still the hangover from Anderson Silva cleaning it out for so long. Same thing happened, John Jones in the light heavyweight division. Yep. I mean, thank God he vacated, because now everybody's pumped and it's exciting and it's cool and it's hip and it's with it. So people need to understand, like, dominant champions, they do that to weight classes because they're so dominant. They get all the love, they get all the praise, and it's hard for anybody else to build their name. And you get things like guys fighting for the titles off 2-fight win streaks, like Ray Borg, and those things have always also happened in these divisions that were dominated by dominant champions. You gotta shuffle people in there to keep it moving. So it's something to note, and I think people just need to do their, think about it a little bit. And it was tough. And DJ was a great champion, but I guess he wasn't exactly the personality that everybody grasped onto for whatever reason.
That's true. Very true, man. Everything you said. So speaking of the flyweight division, having new faces fight for the belt, obviously you got a big fight ahead of you coming up in a week. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I'm expecting you to go out there, handle business. After you win that fight, are you looking for some big names too, man, towards the top of the division? Because I would love to see you fight some of the bigger names in the flyweight division. Because there's some guys that are there that I think you match up perfectly with. You got guys. I mean, Benavidez is supposedly not retiring. I don't know who he's looking to fight. Who else we got up there? Formiga. Formiga is a guy that I would love to see you fight against as well. Juicy Air Formiga. But I mean, again, I don't want to get ahead of you. I know you got to fight.
Somebody who's really breaking out right now, Alex Perez. I really think this guy, he's about to fight Brandon Moreno, who I'm familiar with. I've trained with Brandon, did 5 weeks with him in Mexico City, took a whipping from him that whole dang time.
Wow.
And I tell you what, Brandon Moreno is a stud as well. And that'll be an interesting one. I think that one sorts out who will challenge for the title next. So, yeah, Formiga would be fun. There's a lot of guys up and coming that, I've got my eye. Obviously, we're focused on the task at hand, but Kai Car France is fighting Brandon Royval, who came in and upset Tim Elliott in a freaking banger. I mean, those guys both got a bonus too that night. So that's one that's fun to watch and expect a lot from. There's a kid named David Dvorak who is about to fight. Is he about to fight Espinosa?
I know you're talking about too. I think is he a Czech fighter? I believe he's Czech.
Czech guy. Yeah, I think he's about to fight Jordan Espinosa. I mean, that's another guy to keep an eye on, and I think me and him would be a fun, entertaining fight. So there's a lot of guys out there, and when we're talking about the numbers, I try not to get too bogged down in them, because it would be different if I was on a 5-fight win streak. We would be watching the numbers. Like, I'm not going to fight an unranked guy on a 5-fight win streak, but we're coming off of a loss, and to be honest, I don't freaking care about the numbers anyways. I'm trying to stack up wins. I'm trying to do what's best for me. And not only that, but let's not forget that Tyson Nam came out of the cage and he said my name.
That's right, huh? So he called you out, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So that definitely spices it up, right? You got to go out there and put a stamp on this fight.
Well, I like to think that maybe it's out of respect that he called me out, but guys don't typically do that. Guys call out people who they feel are low-hanging fruit, so that's kind of how I viewed it this whole time, and we gonna see. Sometimes you get what you ask for.
That's awesome. Oh man, I'm excited for the fight. I can't wait. I'm definitely pulling to win the fight, but let alone, man, I want to see a nice sub, man. Let's put this guy to sleep, man, and get that bonus. Let's bring some extra money home.
I believe it's one that has the potential to do it. And as these fights keep dropping off these cards, let them go because that just increases my chance, huh?
Awesome, man. Yep, definitely does, man. Definitely does. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Is there anything you want to let the fans know before I let you go? Any sponsors you want to shout out or any a message that you want to give to the fans?
I just want to thank all my guys that I've trained with throughout this whole thing. It's been a different type of camp here in Texas, pandemic camp, and the guys over at Fortis MMA have taken me in with open arms, and we've gotten some great work in. And I truly believe that I am my best self right now. My wife is a dang soldier. She's held on through all this. I just had a newborn. I just had a baby in February. She's no longer a newborn. She'll be 7 months old the day after my fight. And I'm hurrying on to come back to her. Thank you. But life is good. Everything is going as accordingly. But best believe I'm going to go out there, bite down, and do what I do every single time. And that's put it on the line and fight my heart out.
Awesome. Well said, man. We're all very excited, man, to see you go in there and handle business. So we'll all be watching. All right, man?
Thanks, boss. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Matt Schnell, man, that was awesome. Yeah, I knew Matt was a cool dude already. Just for anything I've seen from him on tape, man, what an awesome dude. That's a big fight, I'm telling you guys. Tyson Nam has never been submitted, and Matt Schnell has gone out there and submitted opponent after opponent. So I think that would be really impressive if he goes out there and he's the first fighter to submit Nam. And Nam is coming off a big win, as we said, knocking out that kickboxer. Although Schnell did bring up a valid point. Adeshev was out of shape for that fight. He definitely was out of shape. So that is something to take into consideration. But I think Schnell is going to handle business in that fight. I really do. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter. I think Schnell can hold his own on the feet, more than hold his own on the feet, actually. I think that he wins the striking exchanges against Nam on the feet. Nam, his striking defense isn't the best. He's a little unorthodox, a little awkward with the striking, susceptible to being tagged up a little bit. I could see Schnell tagging him up. But once Schnell gets his hands on him and gets him down to the mat, I could see him really, really putting Nam in some trouble. So, but he's an awesome dude. So, yeah, man, another solid interview, Matt Schnell. And now we got a fighter, man, that we're rooting for. So that's what this show is about. I tell you guys, time and time again. So what else, guys? What else we got going on? We could take a look into the card coming up this weekend. There's a couple things I want to talk about in regards to this card coming up this weekend. Michel Pereira taking on Zelim Amadayov. That fight is going to be fireworks. And, just to let you guys know, man, Pereira, I know he looks spectacular against Diego Sanchez, but do keep in mind that Diego Sanchez is a shell of himself. So don't expect Michel to go out there and dominate the way that he did against Diego. Zelim Amadayov, even though he lost his last two fights, trust me when I say that this guy is extremely tough and has underrated Muay Thai. This guy, he'll constantly get in your face. He's constantly looking to take your head off. And I think if he works on his conditioning a little bit and pacing himself, he's going to be very dangerous. So don't expect that just to be a walk in the park for Pereira. I'm telling you guys now. I think the fight is close, very close. Any fights that you guys are looking forward to? Cody got COVID ahead of the yeah, I heard about that. Yo, Latch, I'm going to post a link, brother, if you want to come in. Got about another 30 minutes we could roll over here. If you want to hop in, Latch. I'm kind of curious what you meant by that, too. You said Matt versus Volkanovski. Volkanovski is the featherweight champ. So they're not in the same division, though. But what else we got on this card, man? Thiago Moises versus Jalen Turner. Striker versus grappler, man. Grappler versus striker. That's a nice matchup right there. Who's going to prevail, Bringing in Luck. What's up, Luck?
Hey, mate. G'day.
How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Excited for the weekend.
Yeah, man, right? Anytime we got fights, it's a good weekend, man. It doesn't matter how big how stacked the entire card is. I think it's still it's another exciting event. It's another exciting UFC event, right?
I'm gonna put money on Carol Rosa to win.
Taking Rosa there, huh?
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
got
Rosa.
high.
She just fought too, man. She looked pretty good in that fight.
Yeah.
I think there were some things you could have took away from her in that fight that were impressive, but there was also some flaws in her game that I think were a little bit transparent as well. You know what I mean? But I agree with you. I think that she wins that fight. I think that she takes Sarge out.
I got this. Wait, it's like that. I mapped them all out.
Okay, you got your picks there. So what fights do you feel confident about?
I'm more confident on the Colby versus Woodley card. I'm plenty more confident on that. But I got Sakai to win the main event.
Okay, you taking Sakai? I'm assuming that you're
Yeah.
taking him by knockout.
I don't know. Decision. I don't think he's gonna get. Yeah.
You think he could take a decision against Overeem?
Yeah, whole 5 rounds.
So you just see him kind of just dominating the striking, I guess. You see it taking place in the feet.
No, I think it's just gonna be tit for tat. I reckon.
Okay.
It's gonna be one after the other, getting their strikes in.
Okay. See, that's interesting that you say that because me personally, I think that if Sakai is going to win this fight, I think he has to just touch Overeem. Obviously, Overeem's chin is suspect, through all the damage and the wars he's been through. I think that he has to get a knockout to win that fight. That's just the way I look at it. I think Overeem is so crafty, and the longer that fight goes on, I think that he could start to use different skills he has. I mean, he's so talented in the clinch. You saw him with his grappling too, man. Against Walt Harris, once Walt couldn't finish him, I mean, you saw the ground and pound. Overeem is just so seasoned. He's so crafty in there. So I'm taking Overeem personally.
I had money on Harris to win that one.
Did you? That must have been tough, man, to watch, huh?
Yeah. Just because of his daughter passing away. Well, getting murdered actually.
Yeah, that was a sad story, man. Really, really sad. And I hate to say it, bro. Like I wanted him to win I kind of wanted him to win because that whole situation. But at the end of the day, I'm a big Overeem fan, and I had money on Overeem. So I mean, I was pulling for Overeem. But if Walt would have won, I would have been really happy for him because that was so sad, man. The whole situation.
Yeah. Well, when I look on Twitter and I see like people MMA Twitter, they make like posts of name a fight that you'd want the outcome changed, and it's always the Walt Harris versus Overeem.
Yeah. No, I can relate to that though. I know that would have been a big victory for him. And the crazy part was he was so close to getting that finish, man. I just rewatched that fight this week again. He was so close to getting that finish, man. He was dropping hammers on Overeem. He was smashing him up.
Yeah.
But Teron Brown says Overeem needs to retire. Hating on Overeem. I don't know, man. Why does he need to retire, man? He's still going out there and he's handling business. I mean, if you take a look at what Overeem has done as of recently, let's take a look at this real quick, guys. Don't sleep on Overeem. He's on his last run to try to win a title. And he's won 3 of his last 4 fights. If he goes out there and wins this fight, man, that would be, 4 of his last 5 fights. And in the heavyweight division, you're never that far from a title shot, especially when your name's Alistair Overeem and you're a legend in the game. So, I mean, if he goes out there and wins this fight, we're talking about winning 4 of his last 5 wins. And his only lot. I'm sorry, go ahead, Luck.
Yahin Zeno Rosenstruck to beat Overeem, and he did in the last.
I did.
With 4
I did
seconds.
too. That was one of my official plays, bro. That was an official locked-in play, man, that I gave to everybody. I was like sitting there biting my nails when he got that knockout. I was jumping out of my seat, man.
Yeah. Me and my mate, we both got it. You can save messages on Snapchat. I've got it. I'm about to lose $100 on Overeem. Because Overeem was expected to win, but then he just came out in the 5th round, knocked him out, cut his lip up.
Yeah, he ripped his lip up bad. Teron's talking about Walt Harris. So Walt Harris is supposed to be fighting on UFC 254.
Yeah. Volkan. Sorry, what's his name? Starts with
Volkov.
Yeah, Volkov.
Yeah. What's his first name?
Curtis Blades.
What the hell is his first name? What the hell? It's slipping my mind. Volkan. I'll tell you guys right now. I don't know why his name's slipping my mind. But the dude from Bellator, the guy that came over from Bellator, Alexander Volkov, who Volkov is a very, very talented striker. So stylistically, this fight makes perfect sense because we saw Curtis Blades go out there and pretty much handle Volkov, even though Volkov came back in that 5th round, but still he couldn't stuff the takedowns. That's probably not how this fight's going to go down. This is going to be a striking affair, and I think it's going to be fireworks.
You know their records? So Volkan, is that it? Volkov, that's it.
Alexander
Volkov's
Volkov.
31-8 versus Walt Harris's 13-8.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the record.
Major discrepancy in the amount of professional fights these guys have, for sure.
So I would think that Walt would be the underdog in that one, right?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely believe he is. And I'll tell you right now what the exact line is, because the line should be out.
We want to put some money on, I reckon.
They may have not actually popped that line out just yet. No, they haven't.
It's a bit further in the future.
Yep. But we got to keep an eye on those. And how about Glover Teixeira taking on Thiago Maheto Santos? It's a big fight.
That got COVID, didn't he?
Oh, Glover did, right? Yeah, Glover did. Yeah,
Glover
that sucks, actually. I forgot that fight was just scrapped. What am I talking about?
I mean, I always look at it and think that Glover's record is 31-7, and then Thiago's is 21-7, and he's got 10 above him. But Thiago's the favorite in that one, despite having 10 less wins.
Yeah, Thiago is right around a -220, but I think they just think that he has youth and speed, on his side. Glover's getting up there. He's slow, but you saw what happened last time, bro, when people sleep on Glover, man. Woo.
Yeah.
He's so well-rounded. That's the thing. He's so well-rounded. He can box with you. His jiu-jitsu is so solid. His ground and pound is so nasty. I mean, Glover's he's still a real threat. But I probably edge Maheta to win that fight as of right now, but I think it should be closer. But I mean, again, the fight ain't going to happen, right? So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Oh, well, I watch MMA World. Are you subscribed to that on YouTube?
No.
I'm subscribed to all of them, and I wake up and watch them.
Yeah.
Because the hours are different in Australia. Like, I can just wait. I can go to sleep and wake up and then watch a bunch of. I watch your videos. Your time is
it's very different. Yo, speaking of Australia, what about Jake Matthews, who's taking on Diego Sanchez? That's what a joke that is.
16-4. He's 16-4 versus 31-12.
But with a fight like that, man, I don't even think it's about the record. I think it's just clear that Diego Sanchez is on it. He's out. He's out of the game, bro. This guy is so washed up. Jake Matthews is gonna hurt him so bad, bro. I think that's pretty crazy.
What card's that on?
That's on UFC 253. It's a big card. That's a very big card. They're fighting for the inaugural light heavyweight champion, Dominic Reyes and Blachowicz, Israel Adesanya and Costa. There's some big fights taking place. Nico Price and Cowboy Cerrone.
I got Nico on that one.
Yeah, you got to go with Nico, I think. I think that he's durable. He throws bombs. And Cerrone, I don't know if he could survive the onslaught Nico's going to bring.
Well, yeah. Just been knocked out too recently, AG, Connor, Tony.
Yeah. Well, he's been through so many wars and he's still there. I mean, he could outskill and outclass the right opponent, but I don't think that that's a good matchup for him.
And I love his picture of his eye that he's got on Twitter.
Oh, his eye was destroyed. Yeah. Yo, Tehran Brown says, what do you think of RDA versus Islam Makhachev? My lean is on Islam. I take Islam.
Yeah.
What do you think, Locke?
Yeah.
You got some notes on that?
Yeah, I wrote it down. Fuck.
You got Islam? What's up, Dylan?
Islam's on the only right there.
Well, yeah, I got you. So what do you think about the fight?
You
want to show us you read it down, but what do you think? What are your thoughts on the fight? How do you see it taking place?
I got Islam in that one. I got all the Dagestanis on that card.
It's not a bad idea, right? When a Dagestani guy's fighting, it's not a bad idea to pick the Dagestani fighter.
Yeah. They don't ever get more than 3 losses in their entire career.
Yeah, they're studs, man. Those guys are studs. Yeah, I think RDA is kind of been on the decline. I mean, we've seen RDA kind of get beat up, right? As of recently, RDA has been losing a lot of fights. I still think that RDA is a very, very capable opponent, but Islam is just he'll be able to use his grappling to kind of nullify RDA. He'll be able to control the clinch, put him up against the cage. I think that his striking is underrated too. I think he just kind of controls the fight. I have a hard time seeing RDA really, really hurting Islam. I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I agree with you, Tehran. He says, fight makes no sense to me. It should have been Charles Oliveira versus Islam. I completely agree with you. From what I've been hearing, everyone's scared to fight Charles Oliveira. I don't know what's going on with the whole COVID situation or flying, but what's that? What's that?
It's Darius versus Oliveira next.
Is that official?
I've seen I think so. I think it's next.
You sure?
Yeah, it's Darius is 17-4, coming off 2 or 3 knockouts, and then it's
Oliveira. It is scheduled. It's scheduled. Yep, UFC Fight Night 179.
Oliveira just came off his submission win to Kevin Lee.
Yeah, he did, and I made money on that. That was one of my biggest plays of the card, where he was an underdog. Let's not forget about that. Charles Oliveira was an underdog against Kevin Lee, which I thought you guys were nuts. You guys can run the tape back, pull up my prediction video. I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Charles Oliveira is the submission kingpin. His striking is nasty as shit. He's knocking dudes out. Kevin Lee he's a tough dude, but that was easy money there. And I'll tell you what, I'm taking Oliveira in that fight too. Dariush is a very, very skilled jiu-jitsu player too. Nice striker too, but Charles is too technical. Charles is too technical for Dariush, bro. He'll hurt him.
On the fence with that one.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I ain't on the fence, man. I already jumped over the fence. I'm on the other side, man. But I'm telling you, Oliveira is the real deal, man. And so is Beneil. You're talking about 2 top-level lightweight fighters. You're talking about 2 of the best fighters in the world. I mean, it's gonna be a spectacular fight. But
what about your opinion on Brian Ortega versus Korean Zombie?
I'm taking Korean Zombie in that fight. I think that I've seen Ortega get completely exploited on the feet, exposed and exploited. I mean, the way the damage that Max Holloway put on him. I understand that Max Holloway is an excellent fighter, but the way that he went out there and just destroyed him like that, Korean Zombie can strike. Korean Zombie has nasty jiu-jitsu. He's so well-rounded. He's a technician, and I see the Zombie hurting him. I really do.
I went for Ortega, but there's not many people going for Ortega.
I mean, Ortega has the submission skills too. I mean, he's a nasty submission artist. But don't start thinking that Ortega is this guy that can throw hands. He's been working on his boxing, this and that. Don't get it twisted, because he knocked out Frankie Edgar, but Frankie Edgar is a guy that's been wobbling around for years now. So don't think just because Ortega knocked out Frankie Edgar, a guy that's at the end of the road, that he's going to go out there and just knock out Korean Zombie.
The only guy to knock out Edgar.
He's the only guy to ever knock out Frankie Edgar?
Yeah.
No way. Well, that ain't going to last long, because Frankie's going to be getting knocked out very shortly. Frankie was getting wobbled in the Munoz fight. What about Gray Maynard never finished him off? I know Gray Maynard hurt him bad.
I was watching that with my mate on
the
weekend. Yeah, they went to decision 3 times.
Yeah, that's right. He survived, and he lost it. Yeah, he lost the one decision, but you're right. He survived that.
I like the second one of the trilogy. The second.
You know what? Oh no, he also got knocked out by the Korean Zombie. The Korean Zombie knocked him out too, just recently.
Okay. Well,
so he got knocked out twice as of recently. But still, that's impressive. That's impressive. But the point I'm making though, as of recently, so he's been knocked out twice in his last 5 fights, and Pedro Munoz was wobbling him too. I could see Frankie getting knocked. I'm just saying, I wouldn't look too much into Ortega's boxing. It's decent, but I give the Korean Zombie the edge in that one.
Okay.
TJ Kill says Dariush wins that fight. Interesting. People pick. I mean, Dariush is skilled, so I get it, but I'm not on Dariush there. What else we got, guys? What else we got going on? On the card this weekend, man. What else we got?
Oh, this, yeah.
Alexander Romanov making his UFC debut against Marcos Rogerio de Lima. That's an interesting matchup.
I showed you that one
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter, Instagram. The odds were
That's
they were
right. That's
better
right. You were
for
you were talking
Romanov
about that fight for a bit now.
in the beginning. Yeah, they've flipped. Like he was $2.10 in the beginning, and now it's Marcos with the $2.10.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand when I say that? Like I explained it to you about how
Yeah,
Australian currency works with betting?
the only different there's a website that converts the odds, so I don't know, like when you say what the odds are, I already know what the odds are, like my American style, but like when you say it off rip, if I didn't already know what it is, I don't know it, the automatic transition, what it translates to exactly. I have to look it up. It's just a little different. You use decimal odds, right? That's decimal.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah. We use decimals.
Yeah.
But
you're saying you could have got him like 2-1? Was that what you were saying? You could have got him 2-1?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. 2-1.
Yeah.
So it works as if, like, I'll give you a good example. Dustin Poirier was $1.60 to win here in Australia, and he was $2.30 for Dan Hooker to win at the time, but it's always changing.
So Poirier was $1.60, you say?
Yeah. So every time you put $1 on Poirier, you'd win 60 cents back.
Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So
yeah, because
$2 to $1.20.
Yeah, because Poirier, I think Poirier settled in that fight, right? Was it for our odds, I think it was like around minus 185, minus 190. Maybe then he hit like 200. He eventually was a 2-1 favorite, I think he was, by the time the fight started.
I always like to look at the records as well to find out the winner. You know what I mean? Like 25-6 at the time, just lost after Habib, and then Dan Hooker's 20-9. You know, it's kind of simple to figure out who's going to win that.
You like to use just the records, huh? I mean, personally, I got to look into a lot more than just the records.
No, I'm not. That's the first thing I look at is the records, and then I always wake up and I watch your videos. You know, I want your opinion.
Yeah. I appreciate you, man. Yo, Caden Schmidt says opinions on Kevin Navidad taking your boy Brian Kelleher out Saturday. So knocking out BK. I think there's a possibility. I think Kelleher's probably going to win that fight. I think Kelleher has he's been putting it together, and I think he's a little bit more of the seasoned fighter. Kevin Navidad has a complete and Locke talking about looking at the resumes.
Low level.
Dude, it's low level. Dude, it's so padded. So, Navidad, this is a major step up in competition for him. So we'll see if he rises to the occasion. But I think that Navidad has knockout power. That's for sure. When you watch him fight, you watch the fight tape, he can knock dudes out, period. Usually that's going to translate over to any level of competition. If they connect, they're going to knock dudes out, guys that can sit in the pocket and they have nice, crisp striking and they can throw bombs. But Kelleher has a chin as well. Kelleher, I don't know. Let me check Kelleher's resume out real quick.
He was calling out O'Malley.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Back in the day, he wished he can get that fight.
He had his little ukulele singing songs.
Yeah. You see, Kelleher actually has never. Oh, he's been only knocked out by John Lineker. That's it. He's been knocked out one time in his career. So, that's pretty impressive. I mean, you guys know I'm not a big fan of Kelleher, but Kelleher has only been knocked out once, and that was against John Lineker, who John Lineker straight up slings bricks. He just he takes bricks and just swings them around, cracks you in the head. So, we'll see if Navidad has the stuff. UFC Bet 77, bro. I agree with you. How can you hate Overeem? I'm a giant Overeem fan. I'm a huge Overeem fan. And if you guys are Overeem fans, you guys better soak in this fight this weekend because he is on the brink of retirement. He talked about it with Ariel Helwani. So, if he goes out there and loses, this might be towards the end of the road for him, man. He don't have much longer. If he wins, he's going to keep pushing for a title shot, needs to win this one and maybe one more, and he's fighting for a belt. So.
What, him versus Stipe again? Alistair versus Stipe again.
Yeah, that was a devastating knockout for Stipe, right? Stipe slept him on the ground. And Overeem almost had him in a choke. Remember that? He almost guillotined him. I think he had him in a guillotine or something. And he popped out and smashed him. Let's see what he says over here. You got Rogerio de Lima beating Alexander Romanov. No, I don't. I'm leaning Romanov. We've been talking about that a little bit. I like Romanov. This dude looks tough. He's big, and
Finished
looks
everybody he's ever stepped in the octagon with.
Mm-hmm. And as big as he is, he's pretty impressive on tape. The way he moves around, he brings the fight. He chases his opponents down. He tries to kick, strike. He's a little bit flexible, even though he's a big brute of a guy. I mean, he throws body kicks and whatnot. He brings the energy. So I think, I think that Rogerio is going to be a little bit more fluid on the feet, maybe, a little bit more athletic in there. And it does worry me a little bit that he's been brushing shoulders with guys at American Top Team, training with some of the best guys in the world, where Romanov has a little bit more of an unproven record, fighting on the East. You never really know some of those guys in the East. But I got Romanov. I think Romanov's the better fighter for sure.
Yeah. Good.
So I'm going to bring Will in real quick. What's up, Will?
Joe, my man.
Will. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Yeah.
What you got going
Can
on?
you hear me clearly?
Not really.
Try again. Let's hear you again.
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
It's all right. What fights you eyeing this weekend? Give us one of your sleeper picks. Give us a pick for this weekend, Will.
Wow, man. Just maybe well, who we got now?
Co-main.
Maybe
Who you like in the main event? You like the main event? Overeem versus
Overeem, yeah. I mean, I like Overeem. You have to go with Overeem. Overeem is one of my few favorite fighters in the heavyweight division. You got to go with Overeem.
You're not worried about Sakai knocking him out?
I'm worried. I'm a lot of worried. I mean, I love the spirit of Overeem just getting his title, getting title contention again. For the past 4 years, before obviously getting knocked out by Stipe.
Will.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we lost him. Yeah, we're having it's kind of breaking up, right, guys? I don't think you can hear him now. Well, here we got some questions popping in. Neil, the security. Do you think T Wood is done? He was saying all the right things in his recent interview with Helwani. I think the fire is lit. I'm not a believer, Neil. I'm not a believer. I think that Colby's going to turn him into mashed potatoes.
Yep.
I think he's going to pour some milk, some butter in the pot, and whip it up. You could bet your boots on that. That's what I think. What do you think about that, Locke?
Well, after seeing what Burns did to him, he's done with the wrestling that Colby's going to bring.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the Usman. Usman was domination.
Yeah, Usman, and then who was it? Just who whooped him? Usman, Burns, right? Burns whooped him up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and now Colby.
Yeah, and now
what
Colby.
else we got over here? February pay-per-view: Stipe Miocic versus Francis, co-main Jan versus Alger. That'd be a stacked card. Tehran, just seen on Instagram, Leon Edwards is rumored to fight Wonderboy Thompson. That'd be a perfect matchup for Leon.
Yeah, it would be.
Will, let's see if we got a better connection. We couldn't hear you too good. How about now?
Yeah, man. It's just my Wi-Fi is shut right now.
Where you from? Will.
But
he's in Peru.
Can you hear me now? Better.
I don't know.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but I think it's a little choppy. Try again. Tell us something. Here, let's see. Tehran got a question.
All right.
Overseen's going to destroy that dude on Saturday. Okay, not a questionnaire. Here we go. We got a question. So just because Rogerio has more experience than Alexander doesn't mean nothing? Here, I'll touch upon this real quick. I think what you're asking is because Rogerio has more experience than Alexander, does that mean anything? I mean, I like I said, I do believe that experience carries weight. I think the fact that he's training at American Top Team does carry weight. Romanov only has what? I think 11. Does he have 11 professional fights? I think it was.
11-0.
11-0. I mean, yeah, no, I definitely think that there's something there in regards to that. But when you watch the tape, I just think that he's a brute. I think he's going to bring the fight. He can grapple. He's strong. And I seen Rogerio kind of fade in some fights too. He's fluky, man. He gets subbed a lot too, right? We've seen him get subbed by some guys that's kind of questionable when you look back at it. OSP hit him with did he get him with the Von Flue, was it? Or was it a
Flu.
Kimura? You sure it wasn't a Kimura? Let me see real
I
quick.
think it was the Von Flu.
Yeah, it was a Von Flu. So yeah, OSP pulled off his patent in Von Flu. Stefan Struve pulled off an arm triangle choke on him after he hurt Stefan. And then, so he's the type of guy that can hurt you on the feet. And then all of a sudden he's getting choked out. I don't like guys like that. Antigulov got that guillotine choke on him. And Antigulov can't buy a win in the UFC. He's on the verge of getting cut, that guy. Nikita Krylov, who's a karate striking fighter, rear naked choked him. Those are things you got to take into consideration. When you see a karate style, a spectacular striker go out there and rear naked choke you, even though Krylov is developing in front of us, still, that was back in 2015. Krylov wasn't even on the level with his grappling back then. You know what I mean? Like, he was strictly a karate fighter. So I think he has some holes in his game, and I would not be surprised if Romanov brings it in. But I think it's a close fight, but I like Romanov.
There's just some that I can't answer just because I don't have enough information of the fighters. What about Cole Smith and Hunter Azure? What you got for that?
Okay,
Azure.
I'm leaning Azure. That's a fight. There's two hard-nosed fighters. Both these guys got similar styles. You know what I mean? They can grapple. They're tough. They walk forward. They throw power. Not the most skilled dudes. Not the most athletic, like nimble type of guys in there. Azure has a pretty decorated wrestling background. I think he's a little bit more polished up in the wrestling compared to Cole Smith. But Cole Smith is a very tough grappler. I bet against Cole Smith. I had Miles Johns against him. And Cole Smith's UFC debut, I believe it was his debut. No, maybe it was his second fight in the UFC. But, and Cole Smith almost spoiled the party. And that was after going out there as an underdog against Mitch Gagnon, where he won that fight as a big underdog. So, he was undefeated up until he just lost that fight to Miles Johns. That was a split decision. Yep.
Yeah.
So, he's tough. He is a tough fighter. But I think when Azure puts it together, I think that he may be a little bit more of a more talented fighter. But that's the thing, though. People sleep on a guy like Cole Smith, and he keeps spoiling the party. So
is that a pick 'em? Do you think?
Yeah, I think it should be right around a pick 'em. And if you look at the odds right now, Azure is a big favorite. So maybe I wouldn't say a pick 'em. I don't know. I think that it's close. It should be. I think the line is off. I think the value is on Cole Smith. That's for sure. The value is definitely on Cole Smith there. I say. But like I said, I do edge Azure. I feel Azure has the wrestling behind him, and I think he's a little bit more talented.
What about, I saw that you picked another underdog, Andre Muniz.
Oh, Muniz.
On the same card.
Muniz is a very talented fighter.
Muniz.
Muniz. I think it's pronounced Muniz or Muniz, however you say that. But he, it's just was it Muniz? Muniz. Just like a variation spelling, But he's a guy. If you saw his fight against Tyler Johnson on Dana White's Contender Series, that guy Tyler Johnson's like he had a lot of praise. That guy was supposed to be the real deal. And Muniz was very tough in there. Ended up pulling off a nasty submission. He has nasty jiu-jitsu. His striking is not bad either. But Fabinski is just a specialist. I think that Bartos is just going to try to take you down, control you on the mat. You know what I mean? His wrestling is really good, but I don't know. I think it's a close fight. I'm not really completely sold on either of those guys. I think it's a very, very close fight.
We've got some great cards lined up for 2020, I reckon. I'm really excited.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
What about Adesanya and Costa? Who you got?
I got Costa.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So do I.
I'm going to get to some questions real quick. Vitor called out Lesnar in his recent interview. Who would you favor in that fight? First off, if those guys are fighting, they're both going to be completely juiced out on steroids. And I'm going to take Brock Lesnar. I think Brock Lesnar would be way too big for him. A Brock Lesnar on steroids is a dangerous man. We saw him against Mark Hunt. Don't sleep on his wrestling skills. We're talking about top level Division I champion wrestling skills, and he's a giant of a man. So Vitor Belfort's a middleweight fighter. Although Vitor would be on steroids too, and his striking is nasty, I think that Brock would be able to close the distance and eventually start dragging him to deep waters.
I was watching Chael's video yesterday, and he was talking about Vitor Belfort in 2002 versus Paulo Costa in 2020. Would be his dream fight.
That would be a good matchup. It's crazy because Costa's doing it naturally, at least supposedly. He's not failing tests and he's jacked up.
Well,
Let's-
I watched Romero and Costa go at it. I mean, like that's one of my favorite fights. And
That was
I
a
was
goat.
watching it with my housemates, and they both think that like they're on juice together. I mean,
I know they look like
you
it,
know.
but they're past the test. I mean, it's hard to say. You know, I don't think that Costa's ever had an issue failing a drug test. So I don't know. Just because he looks good, I don't know.
Training
hard to
like
say.
Ferguson, 6 or 7 hours a day.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I heard that they weren't drug testing as of recently, right? When he was in Brazil with the whole COVID situation. I think that he got away with not taking a drug test for a good amount of time. But Mike Edwards likes Bartos. Azor will not lose. We got some people on Azor. Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar also rumored for 256. That'd be a nice matchup right there. I like Kattar.
Probably get Max.
You like Max?
Oh,
I like
okay.
Kattar. Yeah, I'm on Kattar there all day. I think Kattar will be more smooth with the boxing.
I think I asked you, what's your opinion of Volkanovski and Max? Who won that one? There's the 1 and 2. We'll say 1 and 2. Who won both?
Well, the first fight, I thought Volkanovski dominated that fight. I thought Volkanovski won at least 4 rounds. If I'm being honest, bro, this last fight, I think that Max Holloway won that fight.
I consider it a draw, but I would have to just edge 51% to Volkanovski. I think
because he was the champ.
Not because I'm from the same country, but because I just think that the more pressure in the 3 rounds, 3, 4, and 5, whereas dominant rounds.
You know, that was the night I had 3 official bets. I went 3 for 3 that night. And I had Piotr Jan, Alexander Volkanovski, and I had somebody else. I forget who. But people were – no, I didn't have Usman. I didn't bet on Usman that fight, which I did, but it wasn't an official bet. I mean, I put some money on him, but not like a big –
I did a 5-leg parlay with Carol Rosa, Amanda Ribas, Usman, Jan, and Alex.
Yeah, but the point I was making was people were giving me a hard time with that I said Volkanovski, you know, the bet cash. People are like, turn that bet back. You know what I mean? Give your money back. You didn't win nothing. I was like, hey, bro, he won that fight. I mean, he won. He went out there and he won. So how do you think Bellator's Valerie Laredo would favor in the UFC? I think that she's a tough chick. I think she still has a lot to prove. I know she's a girl that she's a lifelong martial artist. She's coming off a nasty victory, and she looks tough. And she still has some stuff to prove. I'm not going to say that she's going to go into – I mean, she could hold her own weight in the UFC. She can come into the UFC, and she could hang. I don't know how far up the ladder she'll go. My dream fight is Ferguson versus McGregor. I'd love to see that. I think Chandler should debut against Anthony Pettis. I think that's a perfect matchup. If Anthony Pettis is going to go back down to lightweight, I know Pettis has been jumping around weight classes. I think that's a perfect fight, excuse me. I agree with you. I don't want to see Chandler thrown to the wolves right away. Pettis would be perfect.
Poirier and McGregor 2.
Poirier versus McGregor. I don't want to see it personally because I'm a McGregor fan. I want to see McGregor get some beautiful movements.
After what I watched with Poirier versus Gaethje, Alvarez, Hooker, and I got Poirier that one. Yeah,
well, if Poirier doesn't get knocked out early and that fight goes the distance, it starts to go to the later rounds, I got an edge that Poirier would take over that fight if I'm being honest. And I'm a giant McGregor fan, but I would edge Poirier to take over the later rounds. What else we got here? Kind of like Till versus Bolicana. What's up, Will?
Well,
Will. It's not working good.
No.
You guys comment if it sounds good. Can you guys understand? I can't hear. Well, you got to get some Wi-Fi, brother. Some clean Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's messing up. Yo, everyone, listen. If you guys could, man, please hit the like video for me, man. I appreciate you if you guys can do that. Please hit the like button, man. Try to get Will back in here. I don't think his audio is working good. Another rumored fight is Robbie Lawler versus Mike Perry. I would love to see that fight, man. I would love to see that fight. I did not like that Neil Magny versus Robbie Lawler fight. That was a bad matchup for him, and he just jumped in there. He wanted that fight. I think he just wanted to stay busy, and I think there was a mistake. It was a horrible mistake. He underestimated Neil Magny. Neil Magny is a very, very serious fighter, and he'll drag you to deep waters, and he'll give you an L. But you know what? I don't think that the UFC is going to look into that loss too much. Lawler is a legend in the game. And the way he just took that fight like a G, I think they'll throw him right back in there with Mike Perry. And I think the fans would be happy to see that fight. So I know I would. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Neil Magny versus Jeff Magny. Battle of the Magnies.
Yeah, that'd be a good one too. Jeffrey
Neil.
Smith. Costa's manager says he was drug tested 36 times in 2019. I heard he was the most drug tested UFC athlete. I heard something like that too. So I say he's clean. Is Bellator on Fridays? Yes, it is. Are you saying is it this Friday? Or are you saying is it in general? Is it on Fridays? Because yes, Bellator is always on a Friday, and as far as if it's this Friday, no, there's no Bellator. That's I think next Friday. Khabib versus Justin. I got an early lean on Justin. Thoughts on Ortega? We talked about that. Taking the Korean Zombie. Neil Magny is boring. I hate seeing him fight. I agree. He does kind of have a boring style, man.
Whitaker and Cannonier.
I like Whitaker.
Yep.
I like Whitaker there.
Good. Yep.
Yeah.
So do I.
Well, you guys, I'm gonna be running the Fight Companion show Saturday for the main card, so you guys know you can catch me over there. I'm gonna start wrapping up the show. Yo, can I call you Lock? What do you like to go by? I like Lock, like a bet.
Yeah,
like a lock.
that's what my mom calls me.
Okay, Lock. So
Yep.
yeah, Lock. You got any
months.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you Lock now. I got you. Lock. It's easy to remember. Like a lock, like a good bet. Lock. Any you gonna be joining us Saturday? You gonna be around for the fights or what? You gonna be sleeping?
Well, it's Sunday for us.
Yeah, Sunday morning.
Yeah. I had to go to work last time on Sunday.
Okay.
Is why. But yeah. I mean, I'll message you on Instagram.
All right. Yeah, shoot me a message. We'll talk later anyway. Shoot me a DM. We'll catch up. We'll talk some fight talk. All right, Lock.
Yeah.
All right,
Are
brother.
you
Thanks for hopping on.
now? Oh,
what's that?
Okay. You're ending this now?
Yeah. I'm gonna shut the show down. But Saturday, we'll be right back Saturday.
All right, mate.
All right, brother.
I'll text
Peace
you on
out.
Instagram. Yeah.
Hit me up. Message me. All right, there's Lock. I like Lock. He knows his stuff, man. Good stuff. It's always good to have good minds to join the panel and talk fights. I'm picking Megan Anderson for a choke submission against Nunez. Remember that. All right, Neil. I'm gonna mark that down in the books. That's a bold call right there. Let's see. Turn it up, MMA, man. I appreciate you, brother, man. I appreciate you. I apologize for not having the show last Thursday, and I'm gonna try to step it up here. I'm gonna start doing like 2 fighters per show. I got a lot of fighters that I just reached out to, and a lot of them are willing to come on. So now you guys can expect to see a lot of fighters coming up. Probably next Thursday I have 2 fighters on. The next Thursday I have 2 fighters on. If not, you guys will see some interesting fighters joining regardless. I thought Matt Schnell was a great take today, and I'm a fan of his, and I'm excited for his fight next Saturday. So, but yeah, Will, the internet ain't working good, brother. But we'll see you, Will. We'll see you on Saturday, man. Come join us. All right, guys. You guys know what time it is. Hit that like button, and appreciate all you guys joining us. Fight Companion. Check. I gotta check it for you guys, right? I should tell you guys. What time is the main card start? I'm assuming the main card starts at either 8 or 9. So one of the two. I'll post it. Catch me on Instagram, MMA Fortune Teller _. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the interview with Matt Schnell. If you guys are tuning in late, rewind the tape back. You guys can watch it. Matt Schnell is an awesome dude. Has a big fight coming up. A really, really big fight coming up with Tyson Nam. And I'm pumped for that. There's only one thing we could do right now. You guys know what it is. Signing out, the Teller.